Hello and welcome once again to the Anything Else at Somewhere Else podcast. I'm your wonderful host, Mr. Olli Eldrick. Joining me today in the co-host chair is the Mr. Alex Lints, my fine friend.
Mr. Alex. You got the name of the pod right today, at least.
Yeah, I did. In our producer chair, we have the wonderful and talented Mr. Dallas Outsider.
Hello, I'm Dallas Outsider.
And today, joining us in the hot seat, we have a great friend of ours, someone we've known for probably too long at this
20
point.
years, man.
20 years. We have the wonderful and prolific Mr. Adam Johnson.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Those 20 years have flown by. So
I remember elementary school like it was. I remember Adam taking my lunch money like it was.
Well,
yesterday.
actually, I do want to point out that on a public platform that Adam is actually, you were actually the first person I really met in Saskatoon when I first moved here 2 years ago.
yes, that is true. Was it open mic at Bud's?
It was open mic at Bud's.
Yeah, and I let you borrow my guitar.
Yeah, and you did not want to.
Same old story of meeting Olli Eldrick.
Yeah, actually, I meet most people by borrowing
You
their
got a
guitars.
guitar, mate.
But yeah, well, it's wonderful to have you on the pod, Adam. We've been looking forward to this for a long time, so it's great to have you finally sat down.
I'm excited too.
So, Adam, whilst I know you very well, Alex knows you very well, Dallas knows you too well, our audience may not. So tell us a little bit about your music.
So I'm a country rock artist out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I basically have put out singles since 2021 has kind of been the time frame. I'm right now working on an album that's coming out September 27th, and then I will also be going on tour across like Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta in the fall here, October to November. So
Exciting. Well, Adam, we love your music. We love you as a person, but for God's sake, man, can you talk about anything else?
I can definitely talk about a ton of different stuff.
So what do you got for us? Hang on.
Well, what's our
Guesses?
guesses today?
So,
I mean, I'm not going to guess because I know.
I don't know. So I feel like you might have dropped a hint. I'm going to say you're going to talk to us about the wonderful Saskatchewan Rough Riders. I'm putting that there. I'm planting my feet there.
What's your guess, Dallas?
Adam loves Disney and Final Fantasy games.
One day you'll have someone talk about Kingdom Hearts for you, Dallas. I don't think today's that day.
So what is your what are you here to talk to us about today, Adam?
I would love to talk about movies because
All right.
I am a cinema buff. So
All right, well,
Hell
let's
yeah.
get
Michael Bolton's a major
So
cinephile.
what's your cinema story like? When did you fall in love with movies?
so honestly, like getting into movies is probably Star Wars when I was a kid.
Okay.
I was kind of in that perfect time frame of like right as like it was after the first two prequels, but before like the third one. I got really into it as like through a friend of a friend. They're like, hey, like, have you watched Star Wars? Then instantly hooked. And then from there, like, I just kind of was obsessed with it for a while. When I was in grade 11, I took a course like the entire semester. It's called Media School at Evan Hardy Collegiate. And I basically made movies for an entire semester of high school.
Nice.
And then I took a few classes through university as well. So I just love movies and watch, like, yeah.
So you'd say that like Revenge of the Sith sort of era, Star Wars is your entry point to the love of the craft sort of thing.
Well, so what we did is like a friend of ours had everything on DVD, and this was like before Revenge of the Sith came out.
Okay.
So we started off with like the original trilogy because that's how you should watch them.
Yeah.
And we went through it all in order, and then right as we kind of finished up was right around the time that Revenge of the Sith was in theaters. So we saw that in theaters, which was super
That's pretty
cool.
good. That's
yeah.
a pretty good time. I also thought it was good in the cinemas.
It was very good.
It was. Actually, the first film I ever saw at the cinemas was Phantom Menace. I
Really?
was 2, and I got so excited when my parents had to take me out about 20 minutes into it, I believe.
What's the first movie you ever saw in a theater?
Holy, I don't remember like what the first one was because I'm sure like as a kid we
Yeah.
went to different movies and stuff. But the first movie that I remember seeing was, so I'm a huge Simpsons fan.
Yeah. Oh, the
And
Simpsons movie?
the Simpsons movie is like the first that I like. I maybe saw movies before that. I don't know when the Simpsons movie came out. But like,
2007.
then I must have saw movies before. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
How
Wow.
old are you, Adam?
I am much too old for that to be the first movie I ever saw in the theater.
Because I saw that movie that came out. I was like almost turning 9 when that came out.
I remember when the Simpsons movie came actually, because a load of my friends went to see it for a birthday party.
Yeah.
I was invited, but I was busy. I had other plans, so you know how it is. And so I didn't go. I didn't see it, and they all went like, "Oh, you see Bart's Willie in it?" I was like, "No, you don't." And then randomly we were watching a German class one day, and lo and behold, Schlong. He hangs dong in that film.
Dallas, was the first movie you ever saw in theaters?
It was what's that one called with Eddie Murphy, The Haunted Mansion or something like that.
Oh, Haunted Mansion?
Yeah, I remember going into the movie, the opening credits started. I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then the end credits were coming up.
So what's the first movie you saw in theaters then?
Not the one you paid for.
You tool.
I don't remember.
Mine was Spider-Man 1.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
One of the worst experiences I ever had in the cinema was 2005, War of the Worlds, Steven Spielberg.
Love that movie.
Great film, genuinely underrated. I went with my mum, my dad, and my grandpa, and we looked over at one point. He's asleep, old, elderly gentleman. It's going to happen. And then we turn around. He's just got his full-on video camera, just filming.
Are you a big bootlegs guy, Adam? You ever watch illegal DVDs? The FBI can't touch you here.
Well, I'll speak quietly. Like, I never had any, but like I had like friends and like some of my family members did. So like one I remember, I think it was Grown Ups 2.
Yeah.
We watched that at the lake. Totally like there's like in the middle of the movie it cut out because someone stood up or whatever. So you missed like 10 minutes of the movie because
That's just extra cast members.
Well, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people when they talk about pirated movies now, they'll always say like, "Oh, I always thought it was recorded in the cinema," and it's just actually like someone's managed to grab it between release and home release, like someone's
Yeah.
managed to get the file. But yeah, back in the day, you would watch. We would never. We do not condone media piracy here at the Anything Else Somewhere Else podcast.
Don't look at me.
But yeah, it would occasionally be just someone recording in the back of a Hungarian movie theater or something.
but like the thing was is like you didn't have Netflix, right? So
No.
it's like sometimes like you couldn't actually watch the movie for a time because it's like it wasn't available in
DVD or
a
anything.
DVD
Yeah.
Home-
yet,
home
and
release,
like the theater run was done,
Yeah.
and you had to wait till like the stores got it or whatever, and it's like
It'd be like 8 months
Well,
sometimes.
nowadays, like it's a really quick. I mean, with video on demand, it goes immediately onto Netflix or Amazon or whatever. But yeah, back in the day, it was like up to a year. Sometimes you had to wait until something would come out.
Yeah.
And then for it to be played on TV is another 5 years. So if you didn't have the DVD, then it took a while.
and then it was expensive too. Like you couldn't just
Yeah.
have every movie at
No.
your fingertips, right? Like
Yeah, they were like $30. Like,
yeah.
crazy.
It was a wild time.
Thank God for Blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
You were also because you're about the
yeah.
same age as us. So yeah,
Yeah.
you were a child of Blockbuster.
What was the last movie you rented from Blockbuster?
The last movie I
Whoa.
rented from Blockbuster.
Niche.
That's a tough
Probably
one.
still
I
has
don't
it.
remember. No, we were good. We always often like that was like a babysitter thing. Like we'd
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the sitter and then we'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna go rent a movie or whatever." So it's like usually what it would be because we were young enough at the time that like we'd get one movie that like we were familiar with or knew, or like maybe it'd be like a Spider-Man or something, like
Yeah.
a TV show, right? And then we'd get something new that was like just out of theaters or
Yeah.
whatever, as close to just out of theaters as it
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
been. But so like I don't really know what the last one I would have rented. I just know that we watched a lot of Spider-Man cartoons from
Hey,
Blockbuster.
there's nothing wrong with that. We always had it when I'd go to the Blockbuster with my parents. I'd go with my dad on Friday nights. We'd get a bag of popcorn, some Diet Coke, and I'd get a toffee crisp, which is a chocolate bar in the UK. And we'd rent 3 films. We'd get one for the family, one for me, and then one for my parents, so they could watch something that didn't have to be kid friendly. I could watch something that was not to their taste whatsoever. And then we'd have something to watch all together. But as I got older, like, did your Blockbusters have video games as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just started to rent, like, I rented Halo 3 and, like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. My parents wouldn't let me buy them, but they would let me rent them. So I just continuously rent them again and again for ages. And yes, I don't think I rented a movie for the last, like, 3 or 4 years of Blockbuster's existence. I was just renting games.
The last thing I rented, it wasn't a movie, but it was Mortal Kombat 9 for the PS3.
Yeah.
I spent the entire spring break playing that game.
I can tell you what the last thing I rented from Blockbuster was, and that was Red Faction Guerrilla.
Cool.
What is your Blockbuster now?
What did the building turn into?
Yeah.
I have no idea because I don't even remember which Blockbuster we went to. Because like
Oh.
I was like young enough that like I'm not that young, but like I was at a point where like either like we had enough DVDs and stuff that like when I was like in my teenage years, like I was never driving to Blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know where the Blockbuster was. Like I think I had Netflix when I was in high school.
Right.
I for sure like
We were an early adopter of Netflix. We got it in 2013 because of Breaking Bad. I remember that.
yeah. So like I would have been a little bit later, like probably like mid high schoolish, but I definitely like I wasn't driving by the time I
Yeah.
stopped using Blockbuster.
Okay, so talk about Blockbuster. Your love of that so far. So you made some movies as well when you were growing up. Are any of them? Do you still have it? I'm not asking you to show us, but do you still have any of the movies that you made like during like high school, university?
So I didn't make any movies in university. It was more like
It's more
I'm
theory
forgetting the
and
term.
stuff?
Yeah, more theory and like film critique and stuff. But in media school, I do have a sizzle reel that is. I think it has most of like the decent movies like I kind of made. I don't know where it is. It's in my house somewhere. I pray I never find it.
You gotta use it for
but
like a music video,
that
Oh
would be
yeah,
smart.
Frank.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry, our last guest didn't really talk about it very much. I have to.
I've been really thirsty.
Still got some left in that one, though.
You guys are parched over here. But yeah, I have a sizzle reel of like all these movies, and like they're not movies. They're like short
Yeah.
films, and they're terrible. Like there was a few like I'm a big believer that like in any like medium of like art, it's all about like the skill level you have. So like even though like we had great equipment there,
Yeah.
but it's like if you weren't good at lighting or you weren't good at storytelling, like or framing the video, like framing the scene, it's gonna look bad, right?
Yeah.
So basically, what ended up kind of happening is like there was a few people who were like very good with a camera, and then they ended up with like some really cool like work. I was good at lighting, so I had a really cool short film we made. Mika Schwarty, I think, was the director on that one, and I did the lighting, and it was like a ballerina, and like it was her dancing on stage, and it was like the pressure of like kind of thing, like hard to explain. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's slightly avant-garde 'cause when you have 5 minutes. to
Hopefully,
tell
we'll
it,
cut to this short film in a second.
there's no way we're finding this. But I was pretty proud of that one because it was really easy because it was like the like makeup room in like the theater. So like there's really good lighting there from like the mirrors, and then there's like the stage lights that I got to use. So
Yeah.
that was like a
That's
layup.
I have to ask because obviously I went to university. I did 3 years of film production, and then I taught it for 3 years. Did you fall into any like student film pitfalls? Do you think like the classic stories that you see, like a guy running down it, like it was all a dream, or like, or like they were dead the whole time, or it was just in black and white because black and white's artsy and color grading is very hard.
I will say that I loved doing black and white films because they're so much more fun to light.
They are. You can
That-
get some really good high contrast stuff, especially if you're going very noir-esque. You can
Yeah,
get some
like
really,
that
really
was
cool
my
things.
favorite. Like anytime like I got to do a black and white, I never made a black and white film, which maybe in the future, but I don't know about storytelling. I'm sure I did. Like I'd have to look back on
Almost
it.
certainly.
I'm
Like, yeah.
sure I did, but I'm sure like I ran into a lot of like student filming mistakes, like on like the technical side of it, like
Oh, yeah.
lots of like
100%.
editing mistakes and stuff. Like
The first film I ever made was called. It had to be called The Meeting. It was what. Shout out Rob Ferrin. If you're listening to this, Robbo, still love you to this day, buddy. Rob was my co-worker when I obviously worked there, but he was also my original teacher. And his class was called Camera Lighting Sound. It was the very basics of filmmaking. So like if you were coming from a non-film background, it got you up to speed with just this is what lighting is, this is what sound is, this is what cameras are. And it had to be called The Meeting, and mine was, and he was dead the whole time. Jesus Christ. And then I started grading some of those films from later years, and they all do the same thing, and they all think they're super creative.
I was gonna say, they think they're so deep. They're like,
honestly.
Yeah. Well, see, when I went to Reyes for audio stuff, like the film side, we had to team up with them as like we'd be their audio guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they, their student films, like after the festival was done that we did with it or whatever, our prof Ryan was like, "Oh, like what do you guys think of the films?" And I just remember Brock just said, "I think the film students need a hug." It's like 90% of them were just a metaphor for depression over and over again, and we're like, man.
One girl on my course for one of the films we had to do, just made a bondage erotica film. Don't get me wrong, it was
Nice.
excellently lit, like
Yeah.
genuinely incredible lighting. That was an interesting one to watch back.
So aside from the technical stuff, though, like Adam, like as far as being a film viewer, what's your favorite movie? Like, you're definitively, what is the, if you get asked that question, what's the one you have prepped to say?
Okay. I was literally just talking to my buddy about this. We went to my friend's bachelor party, and we were golfing down in Minnesota, and I think The Big Lebowski's got it. Or no.
Oh, great!
I got like a top 5. I don't know if I could order them, but it's like
You give us your top 5.
Big Lebowski, Pulp Fiction. I loved The Shape of Water.
Really?
I did.
Interesting.
It's a good film.
I quite enjoyed it. Yeah. I really liked. And now I'm blanking. I always blank on the name of this one, but it's a musical. It's like fairly recent.
La La Land?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I
love
know a
that.
lot of people like
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of soured on it.
I
Like
love
it
it.
got a ton of buzz early on, and then people kind of soured on it. I still like it. Like it's kind of like
Honestly, I loved it.
it's like a nice guilty pleasure movie for me. I'll throw it on if I'm
That's
like
fantastic.
need background noise. And then kind of those top 4, I guess. Like 5, then it kind of like spreads out. Like it'd probably be, I don't really know what the end of it would be. but-
Interesting. I think I owe you $10 actually.
Why? Oh, yeah. Ollie bet it was just going to be like the top, like, just like dude films.
I
No,
thought.
I like artsy movies. Like it's like
Well, no, I said that the 2 predictions I had was I thought you'd have like a very vulnerable romance film in there. I'm counting Shape of Water for that one.
Sure.
And I thought
Okay.
Wolf of Wall Street would be like number 3, not the top, but somewhere in there. I'll take Pulp Fiction. It covers the same grounds, but yeah.
I like Wolf of Wall Street, but it's like it's a fine movie to me. I find with like there's a lot of like Scorsese movies that are like the same movie.
Yeah, Scorsese has made a really good movie 10 times.
Yeah.
Honestly, controversial take. You said Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp Fiction's got great scenes. I think Reservoir Dogs is a better movie.
Yep.
I get,
And I will
that's-
die on
yeah.
that hill.
I think Pulp Fiction is a better. It's better. It's got better visual. Like it's like
That's what
better
was- yeah.
equipment. I think mostly. I definitely think like the movie's probably better for Reservoir Dogs though.
They are. I mean, Tarantino's one of those guys where I don't want to say like he's underappreciated because he's not, but I do think people forget that he's talented beyond shock value and sort of the basic grotesquerie. He's making very good movies.
Well, he's a student of film, right?
He
like
is.
it's like he's essentially like recycling like shots and stuff, but that's what like making a movie is like looking at like what looks really cool and like that's why like 3-point lighting is used for like everything.
Everything.
It's
Yeah.
because it's good, right?
What was it? Which director was it that you? Was it Chris? No, who?
In Reservoir Dogs?
No, someone.
Oh.
You were talking about someone's favorite film that was a really weird choice. Was it Chris Nolan's favorite film?
Oh, yeah. So Christopher Nolan's favorite film is Talladega Nights.
No way.
And the interviewer was like, "Are you serious? Like, are you pulling our leg?" He's like, "What can I say? If you're not first, you're last."
Do you know what Michael Bay's favorite film is?
No, I don't.
West Side Story.
Are you serious?
And there
Okay, I
is
can
there is
see
actually
that.
a sequence in one of I think it's in the 2nd or 3rd Transformers, which is the same shot sequence that you see in like this choreography in the original West Side Story, and it's just him doing the same thing but with robots and CGI.
That's
It's
awesome.
really quite funny.
Someone told me once, I think this was in media school, but musical and an action film are the same movie. You just replace the action scenes with like the musical numbers.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah, it works. But you're working on the same. You're working basically on the same principles. And as someone who's done both of them, Spielberg's done both excellent action films and excellent musicals with pretty much the same camera work.
Going with some genres though. Like, what's your favorite comedy?
Favorite comedy, Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
That one's like, that one like I grew up with. Is one of the DVDs I own, and it's like every rainy day at the lake, put it in the DVD.
Have you
Like,
have you
that
seen
was-
Talladega Nights, Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
It's okay. It's
Okay. Thanks, Dallas. Just one.
It's one of those like knee slappers. Like you're just
Oh, yeah.
laughing all the way through. And-
Yeah.
It's a film that's not ashamed to be silly, which is quite nice.
But then it's like earnestly silly too. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't like just throw it away for like laughs the whole time. Like they have like a interesting enough plot, right? Like it's like I'm not gonna say it's like mind blowing or anything, but it's like you're invested in the characters and you're
Yeah,
following
it's still a proper narrative.
But like
yeah.
along the whole way, even like the climactic moment when they're like running on the track, you're like, man, I hope he wins so bad. You're like, this is outrageous and hilarious, right? Like they balanced it so well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Favorite action film?
Favorite action film? That's a tough one because I'm at a point right now where like I kind of like have like a disdain for action films almost. Like it's like I feel like I've gotten so tired of like just quick cutting, like nothing happening. Like they like bore me in a sense, but maybe John Wick because that's that's like one of the best shot action films ever.
Very good.
Question for you, and I do want your guys' opinion. I'll take yours as well, Dallas.
Sure.
Is John Wick, now that it's a little bit older, you know, it's been 10 years since the first one
Yeah.
came out, is it a dad film yet? Like, is it a film that you like?
That's kind of irrelevant though. 'cause
Most
it's
Liam
like,
Neeson films are dad films.
Yeah.
Like most World War II movies are dad film. Is John Wick a dad movie yet?
I think it's kind of offbeat enough that it still kind of has a bit of a niche element to it.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's a new dad movie.
New
Like
wave
a,
dad.
it's like a dad who's
I
been
mean, I
recently a
reject
dad.
the title of dad movie
I love
anyway.
that. I love dad movies. I really enjoy the genre of dad movies.
Like, what do you think, Adam?
well, we'll have to take a drink here because like it's like dad bands.
Yeah.
But I think like it's not like the quality of like the movie or the music. It's like the main listener group just got old, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to work out.
Which is like with John Wick, the one thing about John Wick though is like the way they shot it as an action film, like especially at the time, like everything was like the Liam Neeson, like it takes 10 cuts to jump over a fence kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And like they were doing those all in like big
One-shots.
long takes and like it's like brilliant and like there's not a lot that's like done that since. Like,
It goes back It goes back massively to like the Hong Kong action scene, John Woo and Jackie Chan. It goes back to them massively, even to Kurosawa's stuff. There's a lot of influence in Kurosawa and John Wick movies.
Jackie Chan versus Jet Li.
Well, but it's going back to.
Bruce Lee.
So I knew a
That's not what I
guy.
asked.
I knew a guy who worked on Taken 3.
yeah.
He was the sound supervisor for it, and so I got given.
play with some of the scenes from Taken.
I did. I got to play with some of the scenes from Taken 3, some of the original files for it,
Yeah.
and it is bad. Like everyone.
So you're
everyone,
the reason there's so many cuts.
Yeah. I didn't edit it. I got it after like 6 years after the fact. But it's one of those movies where like they didn't put in the hard work to make those scenes work. Like you have to.
Oh, yeah.
You want a fight scene to look good.
Like it
you
takes
have to,
amazing choreography.
You have
right?
to choreograph.
Like, yeah.
You have to be willing to repeat those takes over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so many people just don't. They just want to do like quick. So they'll do cut on action stuff like that. Jackie Chan has a really interesting thing, and they use it, I believe, in John Wick when they do cuts on action. So cut on impact. So cut on impact is sorry about this, Alex. So like I would punch you, but like as I go in for the punch, it would cut to your reaction to the punch.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually expected to make contact. It's to mask the fact I'm actually punching out here.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan actually does the reverse of that, which is quite interesting, where he doubles impact. So you'd see me punch here, and then it would show you the reaction shot, and you see the punch again. Only a couple of frames crossover, but it's enough to really hammer home that impact in the audience's minds. And yeah, John Wick used it a couple of times.
Adam definitely has brought a topic we could go on about for days, but tape is expensive, so we should get to some of our other segments here for sure.
Well, do you want to?
Me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm sorry, Dallas. I always forget you all the way over there. Part of this idea of this podcast is like, Dallas is a really good audio engineer, but that's kind of all he is. He's an audio guy. He doesn't really have much education beyond that, and I don't think in high school or elementary school he paid attention very much. So it's good that we get on experts of different fields on this podcast where they can kind of educate Dallas a little bit. So Dallas, do you have any questions for Adam about film?
Who's your favorite movie star wrestler, and which wrestler do you want to see in movies?
I knew that was coming.
That's a tough one because I'm not a big like wrestling fan. Like I don't watch a lot of wrestling.
Don't worry, Dallas covers it for all of us.
I think Stone Cold is probably my favorite.
That's
like,
a good.
wrestling
Yeah,
movie
I
star.
actually liked his movies that he's in.
Was he in the Marine 3?
No,
No.
I can't remember what movie he was in, but it was pretty funny. It's pretty good.
Actually, fun fact for everybody, Dallas and I have found out that out of the 4 Marine movies, John Cena's is rated way the worst.
Yeah. Surprised, very shocking.
The Mrs. Marine movies actually fairly decently reviewed by critics.
Yeah.
But we're going to move on some of our like mainstay things. This is just to see how good and quick you are on your feet. See how you can answer these things.
Yeah, this
First
is
one
gonna be embarrassing.
Absolutely. So this first one is called Who Dis. I'm going to give you the name of a real person. They existed. They were famous for one thing or another. I'm not expecting you to know this person. I want you to give me what you think their biography is, just based on the vibes of their name.
Okay.
Your person today is the unforgettable, and we all know who this is, Bum Farto.
Bumfarto. That definitely sounds like the name of a very famous like boxing manager who's maybe like I'd assume that he's probably managed like some of the greats early on, like the Mike Tysons and stuff, as they got their start before they got like the real like big managers in there. And I'd assume he maybe had like a low key like film career after, where he was like a side character in a bunch of stuff like The Sopranos kind of thing.
And Bumfardo definitely had boxers that would take a dive for the mob if they needed to.
Oh, yeah, for
he
sure.
was greasy that way.
Do you want to know who Bum Farto really was?
I do want to know.
He was a Floridian fire chief and suspected drug smuggler who went missing in the 70s.
Bumfardo.
This next section is our Miss World segment. You know, much as we expect the young women of America to be able to answer complex questions of world geopolitics on their feet, I expect the same of you. So I'm going to give you a question that has been asked to some poor lass somewhere out there in the lower 48, while she's decked out in a lot of makeup with a lot of stage lighting on her. Your question today comes from Pageant Planet.
Yeah.
And it is, what would you rather be? A knife, a fork, or a spoon?
That's a tough one. I think I'd have to say a spoon though, because like all the best foods are eaten with, like the best desserts are eaten with a spoon.
Interesting.
So that's why I'm choosing
Good
it.
logic. Man.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll allow it. A little golf clap for that. And now we're going to come to the final one of our sort of like big segments before we hit the quick fire round. This is Are You Smarter Than Dallas Outsider? Alex is going to ask you 5 questions about the year 1993. Were you around in 1993?
I was not.
None of us were. It's okay. We're going to ask you 5 questions. If you get them wrong, we're going to fire them over to Dallas. And all you just need to do is answer more questions than Dallas can. If you are worried and are not sure what the answer is, when in doubt, Bill Clinton is
Okay.
what we found.
That's usually a good answer.
Sounds good.
So, gentlemen, our first question is, what auto company agreed to a 3-year pact with the UAW that included full health care benefits?
In the year
In the
1993,
year 1993.
Auto company.
Volkswagen.
It was not.
Oh,
Dallas?
Toyota.
It was Ford.
Oh.
that
Question
would have
2.
been my second guess.
Question 2. What music award show turned 10 on September 2nd, 1993?
Turned 10.
Was that the VMAs?
No, but you
I think I know
kinda
what
close.
it is. Dallas, what do you think it is?
September 2nd? That's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And it was.
yeah.
I'm gonna say it's the MTV.
MTV.
That's,
Yes.
Dallas is up 1 to nothing. Adam, you've got to call us back with question
boy.
3.
Okay. What kids show character sold $200 million worth of merchandise in 1993?
Kid show character.
Children's
boy.
TV show character.
This is. I'm think like I might know who it is, but are The Simpsons a kid show?
No.
Okay, because then it's not who I think it was. Kid show character in the 90s, 93.
Yeah. Very big kids TV show character.
Big kid show. I really have no idea. I bet you it's a show I watched too.
Are you passing?
I'm gonna have to pass. I have no clue.
Take a stab, Dallas.
God, I'm gonna say like Sesame Street.
It was Barney.
I was gonna guess Barney, but you didn't.
Question 4.
Isn't this 3?
That's 4.
Oh,
I know it's
I just
three.
ask him. I don't count
That's
them.
3.
What Asian country
sorry.
broke a long-standing policy by having emergency imports of rice from the U.S.?
What Asian country?
What Asian
In
country?
'93,
Yeah.
I would assume, is that Vietnam?
Nope.
No.
Wait, so what Asian country has rice shortage?
They had an emergency import of rice, breaking a very long-standing tradition.
Emergency
So like they'd
import.
never imported rice, and they did it out of emergency in 1993.
Oh, probably China.
Japan.
I would have gone Japan, but I thought with like Vietnam with the war, maybe that was like.
I thought it was going to be.
Japan makes
I thought it was
sense.
going to be
Okay.
North
That
Korea
was
with
my
the famine, but I
logic.
think that was a couple of years later, and a lot sadder
Okay,
for
yeah,
the
I
right.
see
pursuit.
that.
Adam's
Comes down
chance
to this.
tie it up. We're giving him a sports question here. What 1993 NFL team made off-season trades for Joe Montana and Marcus Allen?
That is the Seattle Seahawks?
No.
No.
Cleveland Browns.
No.
Hold
Kansas
on.
City
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Well, great try, Adam.
For the first time, someone is not smarter
No,
than
no,
Dallas
no.
Outsider.
Chris Velo.
Oh, that's true. You did beat Chris Malone. Okay. So at least Adam's in good company.
We're going to go to a quick fire round now. This is for our audience, for our readers and our viewers and our listeners to get an idea of who Adam Johnson is, and potentially for future police forces. But besides that, on the topic of movies, what is
this,
your
Minority
favorite
Report?
Tom Hanks movie?
My favorite Tom Hanks movie. That's a tough one. I might have to go Forrest Gump. I've seen so many times. I think I'd have to go with it.
Yeah.
It's a
but
solid choice.
yeah. But Catch Me If You Can might beat it out.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a solid one as well.
Yeah, there are very few answers that someone could give that I would be disappointed in.
I'm still waiting on Joe versus
You
the volcano.
You really want Joe
What's your
versus-
favorite scene from Forrest Gump?
My favorite scene from Forrest Gump. It's when he's up on stage, like after he comes back from Vietnam.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like giving his speech, and then the audio cuts out. Then they
That's
plug
a
it in, and he's like,
classic.
"Thank you very much."
You said it all, man. You said it all.
Next question. This is one from our resident foodie, Dallas Outsider. What cereal leaves the best milk?
Leaves the best milk. I'm not a milk drinker of cereal, so I'm probably not the best.
How do you take your cereal?
Well, like I pour milk into it. I just don't drink the milk.
Yeah,
after.
like no, we don't all do that.
I know, but you
Not
at least
many
know
of
what,
us do that,
You know what the
actually.
milk
Okay,
tastes
well,
like.
here's a question.
Well, so I think but if I had to guess, probably Nesquik, because it just leaves you with
Oh.
chocolate milk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's my
Like-
number one. That's my number one for sure. So
That's his number
now-
one. When we started off
now-
the pod, that was his banned answer, but now it's his number one. Don't be afraid to change opinions,
Now,
people.
do you drink milk from the cereal like from the bowl, or do you drink it with a spoon?
From the bowl,
Yeah, from
Say,
the bowl.
Dallas, I imagine you drink it like a cat by the fridge.
lapping it.
See, I find it weird to drink it from the bowl. I just go spoon.
No, I'm not gonna go. It's not soup. usually I'm
Cereal soup.
Waiter,
Usually,
there's a fly in my cereal milk.
usually I'm drinking the cereal milk because it's left over and I'm done with the eating. I want to get on with my day. So that's the fastest way to do it. I don't want to keep it hanging around.
But
savor
is
it.
cereal not just cold soup?
Don't get him started on this. We got.
Oh my god.
We don't got time for this.
Chris Vassar said he one time put beer in his cereal, and Dallas just said, that's just beer with pulp.
I remember that because I did watch that episode.
That's still my favorite.
we're onto our cleanliness segment. When you shower, what's your default facing? Away or towards the water?
Away.
Away.
Gotta be,
That's
yeah.
what yeah.
I'm an away.
Okay, I'm an away guy.
Yeah,
I was briefly a towards.
that was a dark time.
It was. That's why I did it. Like I always say, you can look emotional much
Well,
better.
if your shower's the proper height, the water should be kind of in your face if you're facing it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it works with a shorter shower. But
yeah.
I just don't want to get water in my eyes, you know.
Side question: what's your opinion on rain showers, Adam? I feel like you have
A
one.
rain shower?
Like the ones that come directly down.
Oh, those look really cool. I've never had one. I've always wanted one of those showers that have like the
Life-changing.
over-the-top rain shower, but then like from the sides as well.
They skip-
You'd never be
Adam, that's
cold.
called a car wash.
That's a,
No, there's like
No, no.
actually showers like that.
it's a Dolby Atmos shower.
Dolby Atmos shower.
4.1.
My man, that's good.
Do you know
That's
what's
good.
bad though in showers? I've had a few hotel rooms like this, like for on the road and stuff.
Yeah.
And like they're a shower, but they don't have a door. So it's like you have like your shower head. I don't know if people listen to this like on YouTube where they can see me or not, but like your shower head's on this side, and then there's like a glass pane that covers half the shower. Then the rest of it's just like open to the air.
yeah,
so your
I've seen
entire
those.
bathroom gets flooded every time you shower. There's,
I've
like-
seen those. I've been to those before. It's so weird. It's such a weird
Yeah.
concept.
Well, it's like those showers that are really big at the moment. A lot of people, when they renovate their bathrooms and have the money to do it, will do it. Where the whole room's kind of a wet room. You might have the shower like corner where it's like walled off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same floor, so you just open up this stall and just it's just wet everywhere.
They're a mess. It's terrible.
I don't like it. It makes me feel messy, and I don't enjoy it. But it usually is a rain shower, so it makes up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue on from this. Soap or shampoo first?
Shampoo first. It's like anything you clean, you go top to bottom.
I just feel like such a freak after we've done this pod. Like everybody who comes on here is like, why would you do it the other way around? I don't know.
I sort of, like, quite often I start washing and I remember I have to do my hair and then I have to go back and do it. You know, some of us forget. It's fine.
Well, that's fair if you forget, but if you remember both.
I just do it this way.
We're moving away from this to keep Alex's sanity. What's the object you own the most of that you are not collecting?
Ooh, that I'm not collecting.
Yeah, you are collecting those Pokemon cards.
Oh, I was gonna say like Simpsons DVDs. I have a lot of those.
Simpsons DVDs.
That is a very good question. Probably guitar strings.
Strings?
Yeah, I just every time I go to the store, I buy them, and I just like forget how many I have, and I'm like, I just realized this the other day. I have like so many of them. I have like 20 of each. Like,
If we're ever in a
20 of each.
So what we're
yeah.
hearing is we're ever in a pinch, just call
Yeah,
up Adam.
if L&M is closed, call Adam Johnson.
Also drink.
Oh yeah, guitars, man. Oh no.
The next one, and I'm interested to know what the answer to this one is. What is your guilty pleasure fast food?
Guilty pleasure fast food. Okay, Dairy Queen Blizzard. I eat an unhealthy amount of Blizzard.
We have been on a bit of a Blizzard kick recently.
Ollie had never really appreciated DQ that much, and then I got
Well, I
him.
never had one. Like nobody
Yeah.
ever wants to go to DQ.
And then I got him
so
a brownie
let him
batter
go.
blizzard, and he texted me that night at like 1 a.m. He's like, "Man, I'm still thinking about that brownie blizzard, man."
And so we went for another one, and I got the meat. By the way, the medium. It's not medium. It's 1,000 calories.
Oh yeah, that's your daily intake is a large
yeah.
Blizzard.
Yeah. I got one, and I finished it because I'm not a bitch, but I didn't feel good at the end.
But you have to finish
Yeah.
it. All the like candy pieces are like pushed down to the
Oh.
bottom. But I will say, last summer they had a s'mores Blizzard, and I swear to God that I don't know if you guys ever watched like Rick and Morty, but that's like my Szechuan sauce. They need to bring that back.
Have you seen? They've apparently announced the fall blizzards that are coming out. I know that we've got.
You have to
Keeping
tell
up
me
with
this.
There's like a Lacey, your fiance told me this. I know there's a Reese. No, we've got the Reese's cup cookie dough, but there's another cookie dough one coming. There's a pumpkin spice one, obviously, and after that, I kind of just blanked.
Alex and I's Szechuan sauce is the brownie batter blizzard.
It 100%.
It-
But it's
I'm-
back right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
so
the thing.
good.
Like,
But
we're,
why
we're-
is it not year round?
But that's the
a
thing. Like,
good
once it
question.
goes, I think it's going in the next couple of weeks. I will be.
I will freak out.
I will be. We have to. You live next to a DQ.
Yeah.
It's worrying that it's good that you don't get it more, but it's worrying that you could.
Yeah.
And the last question I have for you is ghosts? Question mark.
I want to say they're real because I've had multiple ghost encounters in my life.
Oh.
If so like real
When the
quick-
girl leaves you on the date, it's not a ghost encounter.
Okay, never mind then. No, but, so Lake Louise, I forget what Chateau Louise was the first one. Me and my cousin were sitting there, and it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, and it's like a famously haunted. We didn't know it at the time because like we were young enough that our parents wouldn't tell us to freak us out.
Yeah.
And I like saw like this old lady in her like white nightgown, and I like saw her like walking, and I was like, hey, like Eric, you have to like check this out. Like this like grandma was like walking around in her like underwear, and then he looks over, she's like, where? And I'm like, I don't know, she's gone. And like I thought nothing of it until like years later, and I read that it was actually like a famously haunted like chateau. I was like,
Word.
no way.
That is
Whoa.
Okay.
That's creepy. That's crazy.
Our final segment, of course, of these kind of quick fire rounds is the recommendation station. So, Adam, did you know it's recommended that you clean your toilet bowl at least every week? How often do you do it, if ever?
Once I can like see that there's like grime starting to build up is when I clean it. When it's visibly dirty.
Honestly, this has been a disturbing awakening. This segment has been a disturbing awakening for us. We're going to move into our final segment. This is sort of news from elsewhere. We're going to start off with our Florida Man segment. Alex is going to get us started with that.
Yeah, so this week's Florida Man segment is former NFL player of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers accused of urinating on passengers during a flight. So, Gosder Cherilus, who played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was accused of drunkenly hitting one man and urinating on another during a flight from Boston to Dublin.
That's
Well, if someone was like hogging the bathroom, I could kind of see how that would happen.
Well, when they come out, you're just gonna piss on them?
Like you've already held in that long, just go in after them.
Well, I assume he was like, this is how I think it must have happened, is he must have got drunk on the flight and then fell asleep and then got up and like had to go. And like in the groggy state, like mistaken like one of, because it's an international flight.
Yeah.
Maybe like there's sometimes like compartments and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're an NFL player, you probably got like
First class
compartment
kinda
money,
thing,
right?
yeah.
So he's maybe like a little confused and ends up in the wrong compartment. And then that's how I assume that happened.
Fair enough.
Defense mechanism.
Well, and next we're going to cover some local news.
He did it whenever he got tackled, too.
This is local news that is not local to you, but it's local to us at some point in our lives. Dallas, do you want to start us off with
yes.
some local news?
It's out of
from-
Vancouver.
How do you feel that the maximum allowable rent? Sorry, I'm just looking for the headline. It's just
You got this, Dallas, I believe. Get ad blocker.
there we go. The maximum allowable rent increase in BC will be 3% in 2025.
Is that down or up from what it was? Because I'm not super familiar with the BC housing market, but I know the prices is outrageous.
I think it's
I would hope down.
You would hope down, yeah.
I'm just looking at this.
Just skimming.
If it's down, then I think that's a good thing. If it's up, then I think that's
It's a bad thing. Adam Johnson confirmed his pro tenant.
He's pro 3%, but not depending on the direction of it.
I think it's lower actually. So it
Okay,
might be
so we're
actually
pro
good.
3%.
Yeah.
Cool.
Coming out of Winchester, not where I grew up, but it's where I went to university and lived for a number of years. A naked man with quote unquote a beaked nose approached a woman near cricket ground while naked and shocked her.
And shocked her.
Like he stunned
like, scared
her,
her, yeah.
her social
I
sensibilities.
assumed he didn't like rub his feet on the carpet.
Probably because of the way,
Why is there so much carpet around this cricket ground?
because of the way they phrased it, like it sounds like it's not because he's naked in the original headline. It doesn't
Like
sound like
he
it's because
jumped out and-
No, it's because of his beaked nose. That
yeah,
it's
why
like-
did they have to mention the nose? Like,
It was the edit. It was beaked something else originally. And the editor was like, no. That's my thoughts on that.
Fair enough. And what do we got coming out, Westman?
so out of Westman, we have that the Manitoba government, I believe probably the education department, I guess, they're banning cell phones in schools in Manitoba. So up to the 8th grade, you are not allowed to have a cell phone, period. And then after the 8th grade, you can only have it during breaks. What do you think of that?
That's like,
Or you can have it, but you can't have it out, kind of thing.
okay, yeah.
It can
like,
be on
that's-
your person, but yeah.
That's a good rule. Like I love like being off the grid. Like it's the best feeling ever. We're so tied into our phone. I think that's a great rule. And like I mean, you still have your phone for like emergency purposes and stuff. Like there's no reason that you actually need your phone during school hours.
Yeah.
I miss the days of the BlackBerry with the keypad where you could like touch type during class.
Yeah.
I miss the keypad.
That's going to age me to a very specific couple of years, which are quite like.
It's gonna both age you, and then the people that are old enough to know what you're talking about are gonna be like, "This rich asshole had a BlackBerry."
Actually, they were my father's hand-me-downs.
You wouldn't believe how long I had a BlackBerry for.
Blackberries were the in thing for about 2 years, while in my last couple of years before university, and then they died a death.
Canada's last
immediately.
great tech company.
Yeah.
Good movie as well. Also a good
I
Canadian
haven't
movie.
seen it yet. I really want to.
It's got Glenn Howerton in it.
I don't
I'll
think
have
you've
to
seen
watch
it
that.
either, you liar.
I haven't, but it's got Glenn Howerton in it and Jay Baruchel. Is it Baruchel or Baruchel?
I don't know.
Is it Baruchel or Baruchel?
All I
I
know
have
is he
no
was on
clue.
Popular
It's
Mechanics for
Baruchel.
Kids when I was growing
Yeah,
up.
but Dallas did work on movies. He says it's Baruchel, so I
Yeah.
believe him.
Have you ever met him?
No, my mom went to school with a guy who did a film that had Jay Baruchel in it.
Was it The Trotsky? Because I love that movie.
I think so, actually.
No way.
We need to talk to Brandy.
So, he's from Vancouver, Dallas, and he has been in a lot of films as an extra and TV shows and stuff like that.
Who told you should play guitar, Dallas?
Robert Pattinson.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
You better never put that thing down.
I want to do a podcast where we just watch things you've allegedly been in and see if we can spot
Well,
you.
that's one thing
That
we were
would be
thinking about doing
fun.
as a future segment on this podcast was find the outsider. Spot Dallas in the back of a movie clip. Anyway, to wrap this up, thank you so much for coming on, Adam. But have you got anything you want to tell the audience before we stop
You can
recording?
plug music again if you want, anything you want.
Plug music. I don't know when this is coming out, but my latest single, For the Record, is out now. You can listen to it on all those good spots. You can find me on Instagram at adam.johnsonmusic. Same for TikTok, all those other great places. And catch me on tour. We're hitting a bunch of cities, basically from the start of October to the middle of November. So.
Well, thank you so much, Adam. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you again. I will remember this time to somewhere else for hosting us and giving us the space to do this podcast. Thank you to my co-host for joining me today, and thank you for watching and listening. Join us next week.
Now you cut Dallas.